So while Samnang is getting mic'd up, we can have a deep breath in, deep breath out, and have a little bit of ta-da! Yes, one more time, ta-da! Okay, so now I would like to invite our test speaker, Samnang Robbins. Find love, find my voice. Find love, find my voice, Samnang Robbins.
Hello in my mother tongue language. It's a surprise for me, I love it. Anyone here have children, please raise your hand up. Oh, that's great, that's good. You're going to love this. Have you ever felt that you did not receive the love that you require from your parents and felt disconnected when you were a child? Sure, yes, thank you. Global research by DAF shows only 4% of all women around the world consider themselves beautiful. 6 out of 10 girls concerned with how they look. According to Australian Institute of Health and Welfare show, on average, 9 people committed suicide per day. This has led me to discover the 5 languages of love by Dr. Gary Chapman. There are 5 languages of love. Number 1, words of affirmation. Number 2, quality time. Number 3, act of service. Number 4, receiving gifts. And number 5, physical touch. Anyone have 5 languages of love in use? No one? Oh, really? Thank you. Let me share my stories. I was born 4 years after the war in Cambodia. As you might be heard about Khmer Rouge regime, 1975 until 1979. But the country was not safe until 1993. And I experienced traumas that no young girl should ever experience. I experienced child sexual abuse. I experienced a serious car accident. My life was threatened and I was lived in poverty. And I felt back then, my childhood, my trauma stayed with me all my life, making me feel unworthy, not good enough. I didn't feel I belonged. I didn't feel love. I thought that my mother didn't love me. I hated myself, and I tried to commit suicide. But in 2011, bad thing happened to me. Anyone know? Pretty close. I got married to a wonderful man. I love Australian men. And I moved to Australia, live with my husband. We are now have a beautiful girl, she's 9. Now, 5 years ago, I was working so hard, longer hours. Every day I got ready to work. My daughter always crying. And one day, as I opened the door, I walked out, and then she just ran behind me, lay down, grabbed my legs. Mommy, please stay home with me. She cries. And I try not to cry in front of her. And I said, darling, Mommy has to go to work to earn money. So when Mommy can buy you everything and take you everywhere you want to go, and she's still there, she cried louder. And she said, Mommy, please stay home. I miss you. I could not sleep every night. I'm crying every night. Because I miss Mommy hug. I miss Mommy kiss. My heart was broken. And my mom pulled my daughter back in the house. I drove to work. I got to my work. I just cried. In that moment, I realized I was giving her the wrong love language. She wants physical touch and quality time. That's her love language, her primary love languages. And I only had one love language, act of service. That's what I get from my mom. I learned from my lovely mom. She cooked me beautiful meals, which I did not recognize that her love language. And I realized I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I got money. I was not living in the poverty of money, but I was living in the poverty of love. So I thought, the love language is a skill that we all need to learn to fill up our love tanks. We only giving love every day, but we have never learned to fill up the love tanks. So when our love tank is empty, we are disconnected. Without love, we cannot live. We are suffering. When I found the love language that we all need in our family, and we giving to each other, we bonding, we connecting, we becoming best friends every day, forever. And now, my love tank is full. Babies are full. So, I have lost my voice for 30 years because I was not allowed to speak. I was scared of people judging me. I was scared of people laughing at me. But today, I found my voice. I'm not scared to speak because I speak the important language that everyone belongs. I speak the love language to you because I love you. Thank you to ChatGPT AI that helped me to find Toastmasters. And thank you, Toastmasters and Speaker Institute that helped me to find my voice. If I can break through all my traumas to find my love and find my voice, so can you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please welcome Henry Liu. Henry Liu.
Sumner, I loved your speech. You did a super job. Excellent work. And if, in baseball terms, you hit that speech right in the sweet spot. Well done. There was 3 things that I liked about Sumner's speech, and it's the 3 S's. You started strong. Did you notice when Sumner got up here? She stood tall, relaxed her shoulders, smiled, looked to the audience, put her hands together. And when you start strong, it sets the scene for the whole speech. So well done, Sumner. The other thing I liked about your speech was you were relaxed. And when you're relaxed, the audience breath is similar to the speaker. So well done. The other thing I liked about your speech was your beaming smile. And when you smile, the audience comes in and it's welcoming. Well done, Sumner. I have 2 suggestions how we could take that speech maybe to the next level, maybe hit it out of the park. And those 2 suggestions are injecting emotion into the speech. And how do we do that? Rather than retelling the story, relive the moment. And you had an opportunity right at the start of your speech when you talked about poverty and you talked about hard times in Cambodia. I would have liked to have taken you back to 1980, whenever it was, and I would have liked to see the emotion in your face. And I would have wanted to feeling it from your body. Because if you feel it in your body, I see it in your eyes, and we see it in your feelings, the audience, you'll touch the audience. So putting that emotion in. The second thing is finishing stronger. Because when you finish stronger, everyone remembers what is said last. Last words linger. The last words have so much impact. So perhaps you could have said, if you are ever in that situation and you have hard times, you can always push through it. I'm a classic example. So finishing off fairly strong and leaving a message to the audience, adding value, I think would have helped in your speech. All in all, you did a super job. Keep up the beaming smile on your face, because that's going to draw the audience in. Keep up the starting strong and just relaxing as well, which was a good trait that you've got. Just add those 2 things. Add the emotion, because then if you feel it, the audience will feel it. And finishing stronger is another way to add to your speech, and adding value and giving something back to the audience, because that's another way you'll connect. All in all, well done with your speech. And if you can do those things, boy, oh boy, or girl, oh girl, are you going to hit that speech for a home run? And probably to the Westgate Bridge. Well done, Sumner. Thanks.
Our next contestant, Neal Raniga. Neal Raniga.
Dear Toastmasters and guests, I think we would all agree that it was a privilege to hear Samnan's speech today, Find Love, Find Your Voice. And I want to start by thanking Samnan for sharing such a vulnerable and authentic story with us. I know that that's not an easy thing to do, especially with some of the themes that were shared today. As an evaluator today, I want to focus on 2 things when evaluating a speech. One is the what. This is the content of the speech, the words, the structure, the narrative. And the second is the how, which is the delivery. How was the content delivered? Body language, voice, all of that. Let us start with some of the key strengths in Samnan's speech today. Firstly, the speech was delivered with grace, poise, and calmness. I think a huge part of that was the way that Samnan was able to deliver the speech with smiles. Let me give you an example. There was the way that Samnan built tension, really heavy emotions, at one point talking about reaching rock bottom, not wanting to live anymore. And I think all of the audience would have felt a lot of emotion there. But then what did she do? She broke with a smile and she said, guess what happened next? I got married. And that immediately put the audience at ease. The second thing that Samnan did really well was audience participation. In a speech like that, connecting with the audience, asking questions, who else has felt this? I want to gauge how many people have 5 love languages, for example. And I thought that that was fantastic. Impersonating the roles of characters, bending down, being the character she's talking about, all of that were key strengths. Opportunities for improvement. I would like to offer this, as this is an evaluation today, and 3 things come to mind. So the first thing, as a speaker, you want to come across and have a really strong start. And my advice to Samnan is, don't start by clasping your hands. This happens often in a speech, but starting like that can really show visible signs of nerves. So I think start with an open body gesture, if possible. My second point of improvement is, yes, being aware of the stage setup and your presence on the stage. In this element here, coming up front is better, not in the back, just because we're very spread out. The halls are very spread out at the back, and you have more presence closer to the front. And third is the what aspect, which is the speech. At times, I was wondering, is this a story, or is this an educational on the 5 love languages? So thinking about the cohesion of the narrative and what is the actual value that I'm generating. Is it for entertainment? Is it for storytelling? Is it an educational? And that should be reflected in the title. And so I do want to summarize by saying some of the strengths was the body language, the grace in which this was delivered, the audience participation, and there are opportunities for improvement in the body language and also just thinking about how to structure a speech. Thank you, Samnan, very much for your speech today.
Our next contestant, Jackson Green. Jackson Green.
Today, Simone shared a really powerful, heartfelt and captivating testimony titled Find My Love, Find My Voice. Did you notice the way Simone began? She stood in the centre of the stage, the power position, and put her hands together and then offered a greeting in her mother tongue. This was a really powerful way to engage the audience. It immersed us into the speech right from the start, and she was able to build that rapport, getting us to think about her message from the start. This was superbly complemented by the other side of her speech, which was the ending, the call to action. She had a call to action, sharing with us that if I can find my love through adversity and my voice, so can you. And this is a really powerful way to link back to the title and the message, to bring the speech full circle and to make sure that she leaves us on a powerful thought, because as they say, last words linger. And I'll be thinking about your speech, Simone, for a long time to come. I have 2 recommendations, and the first is to do with vocal variety. With the way Simone spoke, every word was understandable and audible, and she had a good conversational tone. But what I would like to see is some variation within her voice to engage us, and she had a number of opportunities to do this. For example, there are 5 languages of love, and the first is affirmation. And this change in tonality and volume gets us to tune in at various stages and just reflect a little bit more about what she said and what's coming next. My second suggestion for Simone today is to do with the 5 languages of love themselves. I really enjoyed when she mentioned there are 5 love languages. But what I would have liked to have seen, just in a couple of sentences with a couple of examples, would have been how we can apply these languages to our lives. Perhaps we might have a neighbour in need, and perhaps all we need to do is give them a sense of affirmation or a friendly touch. And this can bring them up. This can uplift them. So a little bit more interconnection with the body and the message within her speech. But what I admired the most was the vulnerability. There's so much power in Simone's speech because she's able to talk about really intense topics like suicide and not having love from her mother. And she's sharing this with all of us with so much strength. And she's really building a deep connection with her authenticity, sharing this with an unfamiliar audience. That is to be commended. So in summary, fantastic vulnerability, wonderful opening and conclusion. Think about the vocal variety and integrate a bit more of how we can use the 5 languages, and you'll be inspiring many people to find love and find their voice. Thanks.
Our next contestant, Kerry Pienaar. Kerry Pienaar.
Contest chair, Toastmasters and guests. As soon as Samyang walked out onto the stage, she lit up the stage with a beautiful smile. It was amazingly engaging, and she had many strategies right at the beginning to engage us as an audience. A smile is infectious, and so it makes us as an audience feel good, but also helps you to settle your nerves. The other thing she did, which was a brilliant strategy, was that she asked us to raise our hand in a question. Now, why this is brilliant is because it makes us actively involved rather than passive participants, which means we can't help but come along for the ride and be engaged in what she's saying. She did many strategies like that, gave us a shocking statistic at the start, all to get us hooked from the start. So my recommendations are around how to keep that engagement going all the way through the presentation. And what I recommend is variation in pace and projection of voice, because quite a lot of the speech was at the same pace and projection. For example, when Samyang shared the 5 areas of the love language, these were really important parts, but I missed a couple because it was quietly spoken and a bit quick. So what I suggest is that when there's a really important part of the speech, raise the volume, but slow down the pace. And when there's other parts of the speech where you move into a heartfelt story, it's a good idea to lower the projection and slow it down. When she talked about, I hated myself and I didn't feel loved. So varying pace and projection helps you to gather back that attention from the audience, just in case they haven't kept up. And also to repeat those really important things like the 5 love languages. My other area to recommend is around gesturing. So you may have noticed that there was a lot of locking of elbows, and if you don't have space here, it's really hard to actually use a range of gestures. And in fact, it actually can cause clasping, but also repetitive gestures. But if you take your elbows away and provide that space, and when you get to those really important parts like the love language, if you had, she did a beautiful gesture here, but it was limited. It could have been from my love to you by just creating that space. So in summary, what an engaging presentation, especially at the beginning with a smile and with asking the audience to be actively involved, to work on making sure that engagement stays through the whole presentation. It's a great idea to vary the pace and projection of your voice to keep the audience there and also to allow yourself plenty of room for body language. Contest chair.
Our next contestant, Judy Murphy. Judy Murphy.
Samyang delivered a powerful story about the importance of understanding the right type of love for you and for others. The story was poignant, it was heart-wrenching and heartwarming. There were a number of things that I felt that Samyang did so well. And one of them was with the phrasing and the words. And I thought some of those phrases said far more than the sum of the words. In particular, my heart is broken, living in a poverty of love. It said so much more than just those words. It was brilliant. I enjoyed the conversations with that Sam Nang had with her daughter. The fact that she went down lower and looked up, I thought I could have just envisioned that conversation happening. And it made it so much more powerful than just talking one-on-one like that. It was excellent. I enjoyed the contrast in emotion. At times it was really, as I said, heart-wrenching. And we heard of Sam Nang saying that she wanted to commit suicide. And my heart sank. But then we had the contrast then. She buoyed us all up by saying, then she got married. And we felt that joy. So there was the contrast of the suicide to the joy of the marriage. I thought that worked particularly well to keep your audience connected. I have a couple of suggestions for you, Sam Nang. One is to do with your enunciation. I take my hat off to you that you have English as a second language. I didn't quite catch every single word. I was struggling to keep up with it. What I'd suggest is just try reading some children's books, enunciating every word, even overdoing it, and having someone give you feedback on that so that we can actually hear each word and enjoy it. The other is in maintaining that contact with your audience. You use the stage, great, but while you were walking, you were looking down and you break that eye contact with the audience. You've done a lot of work to maintain it. So as you walk across the stage, make sure that you look and maintain that connection. For me, the most powerful part of Sam Nang's presentation was her vulnerability and her courage that she displayed in sharing such a personal story, a heart-wrenching story, a heartwarming story. It does take a lot of courage to do that, and you elevated your voice by doing that. Congratulations, Sam Nang, on coming and delivering a powerful speech on understanding love. You used language that was evocative. You had great conversation, loved the contrast. Try working on the enunciation, maintaining the eye contact with your audience. Keep being vulnerable. Congratulations.
Our next speaker, Greg Bowlen. Greg Bowlen.
Stay home, Mummy. I need you. There's a few parents in this room. Parental guilt is a pretty powerful emotional lever. Sam Nang pulled that lever very, very effectively. And why it was brilliant is because we can't live the experience of another person. But with a lever like that, she brought us into her inner emotional world at that time. And it was really brilliant. The highlight of the speech, in my opinion. The speech took us on a great journey. From this journey of trauma and the things that happened in Cambodia to where she is today. So find love, find your voice. Very much was the theme it was the title of the speech, and was very much the theme of the speech. In terms of areas to improve, see how I'm wandering up and down the stage? Sam Nang was doing the same thing. And I'm not saying this to be a smarty pants. I'm saying this because this was a great opportunity. The speech today, we had early 80s in Cambodia, trauma. 2011, we had the big gesture, the beaming smile, your voice, the cadence increased, the volume increased, the tonality increased. Love. And over to today, you've found your voice. Damn right you have. So that very simple and very classic, like I'm not telling you anything that's particularly mind-blowing here, but very classic use of stage, I think would have taken the speech to another level. The other area that I would go for an improvement, towards the start, there was stats. A lot of stats, not 2 or 3. Statistics, they're good for the brain. They work up here, our logical mind. But where was the power of the speech? The power was right here. So I would say you need to work with a mentor and trim a little bit off the start of that speech. Trim off, we didn't need to know there were 5 love languages or who wrote the book. There were 2 love languages we needed to know about because they were central to the speech. So I would say trim that, trim out some of the other logical stuff, the stats, and spend more time in that powerful space. More time pulling those levers, more time giving us that wellspring of experience you have from this early traumatic life. These are small things. Everyone in the room heard this speech. This was a damn good speech. And I think with these little changes, and they are little changes, that using the stage, it's not that hard. You can practice that. People can show you how to do it. Hell, I did. Working a little bit on the front end of the speech to give you more time. They're small things, and I think with those small things, we will go from great to mind-blowing. Madam Contest Chair.
Our next contestant, Jody Dontje. Jody Dontje.
A heartfelt speech from Sanang today. I'm going to be sharing 2 praises, 2 improvements, and a golden praise today. My first praise was her use of a through line. Chris Anderson explains it's important to have one through line through a presentation. Even if there's different components to the speech, one clear through line message. And Sanang's was around love. She started with the question of, did we receive the love we needed from our parents? Went on to share the 5 love languages, stories about love in her life, and she even summarised the topic of love. So the through-line message of love was very clear. The second praise was a use of facts. Yeah, it's good to have about 65% storytelling in a presentation, but it's also important to have about 25% of facts. And she shared the fact of only 4% of girls actually think they're beautiful. And she went on to share other facts about beauty standards and suicide as well, which gave great substance to her speech. Now, 2 ways to improve her speech. Sanang could have used the stage a lot more. Predominantly to my right is the past and your left, and predominantly to my left and your right is the future. I would have loved if she anchored the stage a bit more with her storytelling. So the past, she could have started with Cambodia and the stories of her childhood, going on to tell the stories about her mother and her daughter here in the middle of the stage, and landed her message and her future understandings here on my left of the stage, which is your future on the stage. She could have also anchored the 5 love languages, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, and she could have used the stage that way as well. A second way that Sanang could have improved her speech was to elevate her use of visual, auditory, and kinesthetic word choices. According to Psychology Today, it's important to have a different catering of communication styles. So, for example, this car accident was a pivotal part of her speech, and I didn't feel the emotions that I could have in that moment. She could have enhanced that by going, we could see the truck coming towards our car. We heard the screeching of the tyres on the ground. We felt the dread in our tummy. So, catering for visual, auditory, and kinesthetic would have been a great enhancement of her speech. Now, the golden praise for Sanang today was her use of questions. She started straight away by asking us, have we got children? And she also went on to say, anyone know? And she paused, letting the audience guess, which was a great way to spark curiosity and engage the audience to that next level. So, in summary, the 2 praises for Sanang have been the through line and the use of facts. 2 ways to improve would be to use the stage more and to also make sure that she was catering for different communication styles, and the golden praise would have been her questions that she asked. I'm going to end from a quote from Brendan Burchard, which is, our stage is made for us to shine. And I deeply feel the connection to the love topic of Sanang's speech today, and I feel like she shone a great light on the topic of love. Contest Chair.
So please, a big drum roll for us. Stop, stop, stop. We had no disqualifications. A big drum roll for the third place getter. The third place for the District 73 Evaluation Speech Contest in 2024 goes to Jody Dontje. Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think
Big smile.
and please stay here on the stage that we can make a larger picture then in a moment. Yes? Good. So, did I mention that there were no disqualifications? Yes, I did. Sorry?
Get on with it.
Yes, ma'am. Second place, please, a big drum roll. Come on, look at me. A big drum roll, and when I make this, you have to stop, yeah? Second place, Jackson Green. Thank you. Congratulations. Thanks. And now, for first place, for the District 73 Evaluation Speech Contest for the year 2024. A big drum roll, please. Judy Murphy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Wow.
And I get out of the way. So this concludes the District 73 2024 Evaluation Speech Contest. The day is not over. We are still doing something, but that was it with the evaluation contest. Thank you very much. You were an awesome audience. Of course, Judy wants to say something. Can you project your voice?
Yes, I'll try to project my voice. I've been a member of Toastmasters, as you heard last night, for 31 years. And I can't tell you how many contests I have been in. I have probably every single year, unless I was really sick, competed. 31 years later, this is my first district. In Toastmasters 2 years, or they're on the Toastmasters International World Champion stage and they say, I've only been in Toastmasters for 2 years. I'm like, whoa! It is fabulous. So for anyone else who is still trying, keep on going.